A story that went viral. A video showing a 270-pound, 6'6" teenager just charging a teacher, slamming her to the ground, and just ground and pounding her, beating her into the floor. The teacher sustained a lot of serious injuries. We have an update. Joan Nadich, beaten unconscious by Brendan Deppa, a 275-pound teen, reveals injuries for the first time. Educator was left with 5 broken ribs, concussion, and loss of hearing after autistic student pummeled her, and she calls for him to be locked up for 30 years. So if you haven't seen the video, I recommend you pull it up on X or another platform and watch it. It's absolutely brutal, but I am not here. Sorry, guys, I'm not here to play shot content. I suppose it would be contextually relevant, but I'm here to argue about schools. And I would like to first inform you, I am biased. That's right. I am very biased when it comes to government-run institutionalized learning facilities. I am so biased against them, I will not give this teacher any benefit of the doubt. But let's start from the beginning. I am a rational, reasonable person, so obviously, the videos that we saw of this beating are insane. And this teenager should absolutely be locked up. Don't get me wrong. 30 years? It's a little wild. And I'm seeing a lot of people responding to me on Twitter saying he should be locked up for life for that beating. And I'm like, you know what, dude? 30 years. We got to ask ourselves, what's the point of prison? Okay, if your argument is this dude's massive, he's dangerous, and we lock him up for life because he might kill at some point, that I understand. But I don't think that punishment, that crime warrants the punishment. I certainly think he should get some time for sure. He mercilessly beat this woman. He nearly killed her. So maybe a few years makes sense. But I don't like the current prison system. I feel it just hardens criminals, and we're putting people into a situation where they actually become learned criminals, and we're socializing them towards lives of crime and not towards solving the problem of why this kid beat the teacher. And that being said, here's what I think. In my experience growing up, I'll tell you why I am biased. Chip on my shoulder. No qualms about it. I think I've had one good teacher. One. Stopped going to high school because, in my experience, teachers range from indifferent to callous to antagonistic. Indifferent, and I'll explain this. That's the best you get. You know, I know there are good teachers out there, and you may have had some. I had one. But for the most part, indifferent in that they don't actually care about you nor pay attention. They don't talk. Sure, whatever. That's fine. Do whatever you want to do. Callous. Callous, I would describe as, you might say, but that's similar to indifferent. Sure. But what I mean by this is when you actually are expressing interest or have problems, they tell you, shut up. I don't care about you. Ignoring you, rejecting, and then finally, outright antagonistic. In my experience, let's see, I went to 3 different schools when I was younger. And all I heard for the most part was that students were either ignored by or antagonized by their teachers. That's my personal experience. Now, outside of my personal experience, which of course leads to a chip on my shoulder and personal bias, I've heard similar things from other people whenever I talk about this. My teacher was an a-hole. School sucked. Sometimes I hear stories. I had this really great teacher once, but why is it that's so few and far between? There is one simple thing you need to understand. School sucks. Why do kids say that? Why have they said it for generations? If school sucks, we got a problem. School should be awesome. Hey, let me ask you something. I'm a little kid. No, I shouldn't say little kid. I'm 13, 14. I go skateboarding. I'm having a blast. I am learning how to skateboard. Why am I so excited about skateboarding? What is the merit and value of school or skateboarding? Is there a difference? Okay, what do I gain by doing skateboarding? I face down my fears. I accept the inevitabilities. I'm physically fit. I'm physically active. I am making myself healthier. These are really, really good things. These abilities that I learned allowed me to run faster and jump higher, and I certainly used these in my journalism career. Okay, I wouldn't say I learned great mathematical capabilities or linguistic skills, but computers did that. Why was it that when I was young, I loved computers, playing video games? Why play video games? Why learn how to defeat the ending boss with a strategic move? Why RPGs? Why so many kids? Why do so many kids like these things? They're learning and improving skills. Why then does everyone hate school? Could school not be comparable? Oh, because math is very boring. Nope, spare me, dude. We all played Math Blaster, okay? Not everybody. But how many of you played Math Blaster or Number Muncher? Number Muncher, that was funny. You got a little goblin guy, and he's running around, and you've got to eat the right number to answer the right question, or the aliens get you. And Math Blaster was like aliens were trying to come and destroy your castle, and you'd fire a laser beam to blow it up. You got the math question right. Why did we love playing these video games, but we hated school? This is my point. I'm willing to bet, in my personal and very biased opinion, this teacher who got mercilessly beaten, here's the story. She told the student to stop playing his Nintendo Switch. I think she took it from him or something. And so he mercilessly beat her and nearly killed her. Okay, that should not have happened, and this kid should get arrested for that, no question. But I'm willing to bet the teacher was antagonistic. I bet she was condescending. I bet she was nasty. I bet she was mean. And if not her, someone else in these schools. I tweeted this. There is nothing I am more biased against than government-run institutionalized learning facilities. Abolish the DOE, homeschool your kids, start or join learning pods. Schools are starter prisons where kids get beaten, sometimes to death. Teachers are cruel and they show porn to kids. So forgive me if I am not coming out on the side of this teacher. I'm not on the side of the kid who was beating her. He should go to jail. But I'm just saying outright, schools are broken. They're horrifying mini prisons. Michael Mella says one of the first places children will experience violence will be in a school. Yup. Here's one for you. How come whenever we hear about school shootings, they say the problem is the guns? People on the right say the problem is mental health. How about the problem is schools? How about schools are institutionalized learning facilities run by a government that doesn't care about students, antagonizes them, causes suffering and anxiety, and so they lose it? Listen, are there a lot of stories about kids going to video game conventions and shooting people up, or going to skate parks and doing it? Why? Tell me this. Can we not inspire the same passion in any other learning, but for some reason everyone hates schools? What are you going to say? Well, it's because kids don't like hard work and responsibility. Lies. Dude, lies. There's this great meme I saw. Shuan had posted it, where a dude said he was basically an incel, playing video games, hikikomori, etc., living in his own filth. One day he met a guy who showed him shrimp. Little shrimps in an aquarium, and he was like, oh, cool, I'll get some of this for no, just whatever. And he did. And they died. And so he tried again. And then he got really serious and said, I got to figure this out. And then he ended up growing and raising a bunch of shrimp families, learning how to properly care for the aquarium and do this thing. People were impressed by it. He made a bunch of friends. They thought he was super cool because he had this knowledge they didn't have. And he was like, I think we're going to make it. He's like, I'm being invited out. I'm going out more. I'm making friends. I'm socializing. Shrimp? Why would someone be so passionate about something, but not school? I like math. Math is always fun for me. I liked reading. I like reading stories. But my teachers were callous, indifferent, and antagonistic, and they made me hate school. So these government-run institutions with teachers' unions, here's what happens. The schools suck. Everyone knows it. They're indoctrinating your kids to weird commie garbage. They're showing porn to your kids. Your kids are screaming to you they hate this. And people are like, nah, that's normal. No, it isn't. Kids love learning. Anybody who's been around kids knows it. Kids love imitating their parents. That's why they say, don't swear around my kids. It's impressionable. Cover their ears where you don't want them picking up bad behaviors. Kids like imitating, and they like being like adults. When you put them in these institutionalized learning facilities, you are torturing them. In Chicago, one kid had a temper tantrum. He got locked in a padded room and left there. So what happened? He crapped in his pants and was sitting in his own waste. I despise wholeheartedly schools. You know what? Enough. Okay? I call upon every conservative to recognize the failures of these institutions. Public schooling, private schools, hey, I ain't got no problem with. We got to get rid of truancy laws. We got to get rid of the DOE. We got to get rid of public education and start somewhere else. And I mean it. When I see this story about a teacher being mercilessly beaten, I am on no one's side here. The student shouldn't have beaten her. We get it. But these schools deserve no sympathy from any of us. The government maintains failures. Students' grades are dropping. These morons don't know how to do hard work, learn garbled nonsense they're never going to use for the rest of their lives, and they all hate it. We have failed, and it's time to shut the system down. Thanks for hanging out. Next segment's at 8 p.m., and I'll see you all then. YouTube.com/TimcastIRL. Okay, obviously I'm pissed.